On this week's show, we're talking the Infinity War trailer, early picks for Oscar buzz, Week 13 in the NFL, and could raise time in the Star Wars universe be shorter than we thought? All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back for another episode of the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you hanging out with us for one more great action-packed episode that we've got lined up for you today. And who's with me back right here, driving down this podcasting highway? None other than my good friend. He is the man, the myth, the legend behind Humanica Media. It's Josh Peterson. What's going down, my friend?
Hey, good to be here, man. I finished Super Mario Odyssey earlier this week, so I was just recanting the tale to somebody. But it's a good game, man. It's fun. It's kind of I don't know if you got a chance to play it, but it's kind of a reminiscent of the Nintendo 64 one, which I liked. But yeah, it's a good game, man. Glad to be here, though.
That's great. That's great indeed. It's good to see that you've enjoyed Super Mario Odyssey like so many others. It's definitely a Game of the Year candidate, and I'm sure we'll be delving into more Game of the Year candidates as we get closer to year's end, because December is, well, it's right upon us. So it's about that time to start talking about all the best stuff at the end of the year, the 2017 picks and movies, games, and so much more. And we'll be doing that We'll be doing that this month on both this show and, of course, the Monday show, the Pop Culture Cosmos show. We'll be talking also about a lot of great gift ideas, and also, of course, we'll be throwing in some other great talk as well. But for this week, we've got a lot planned, including Rob McCallum stopping by with another Cosmic Crossfire, also as well as Salvador Villa from Mario Party Wars talking Unrivaled. And, of course, Tyler Baker from the Fantasy Football Pager podcast talking Week 13 in the NFL. But, my friend, it all starts with you and I talking about the big deal in pop culture this week when the internet just broke and exploded with everybody just sharing this great trailer that came out for the upcoming Marvel's Avengers Infinity War from Marvel. I'll tell you what. It's not, first off, anybody who saw that leaked footage from Comic-Con, no, this is not it. This is so much better. And you know what? You don't even have to tilt your head when you watch it. It's really, really something special indeed. And it really sets the stage for an epic battle, which Thanos looks like I'll tell you what, Thanos and the Dark Order they just really look like they're up for the challenge. So I ask you, Josh, 230 million views in the first 24 hours alone. Just new record, just right out there. With all those people watching it, doesn't that tell you that everybody is just as excited as we are for the next chapter in the Avengers story? He's so excited that he had to step out of the room. He just couldn't contain it.
Sorry, somebody's house alarm was going off.
Yeah, they're just robbing the house next to you. No problem. Charles,
glass break and I'm hearing gunshots. It's cool, man.
Charles like diving somewhere, diving through your window right there. It's like crashed onto your bed. Like, help!
Get down. Yeah, no. I was like, personally, like, I watched the trailer. I think I watched it like 4 times. I watched it twice on my phone and then twice on my computer. And because I'm
on number 5 myself. I just want to go be on the record for that.
Yeah, because I just wanted to get in there and like see all the details, all the little Easter eggs and stuff like that. It's crazy that I don't know like how to describe it. Like it feels. I don't know. When I saw the trailer, I literally got goosebumps. Like that hasn't happened to me since I saw Eminem rapping in 8 Mile when I was a kid. Like I hadn't felt that feeling since then. So I'm like super excited about this. And it's cool because it's literally like for so long, even the Avengers only appealed to a certain audience. If you follow those movies, yeah, like Thor, if you're a fan of Thor, Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, and those kind of characters. But they always left out like the Guardians of the Galaxy and a lot of the cosmic side. Even a lot of the Avengers who were in the newer movies only got like a little bit of time. You know what I mean? In those like Spider-Man and Civil War and stuff like that. So this is like everything's coming together, and whether or not you are a fan of certain movies when they came out at certain times, you are going to be a fan of this movie because, well, everybody's in it. So they've built up a lot of goodwill, and I think that the fact that they said that this story is ending after Avengers 4 is also building a lot of hype, because this is the first time that we've heard of that a superhero I guess franchise is coming to an end. It's not like officially ending, but it's got an end in mind. So I think that's one of the things. Like it doesn't feel pointless anymore. It doesn't feel like an Assassin's Creed game where it just keeps going and going. Like it has a beginning and it has an end, and that goes so much like farther than what it would be if it was just an open-ended story. And I think that's got a lot of it's kind of like how I think the same people are feeling the same emotions that they had when the 7th Harry Potter movie came out.
That finally it's coming to a head and a culmination for at least this phase of the Marvel Universe. Because they recently said that, yes, there's still 20 at least more films to go in this next phase of the Marvel Universe or more. So at least at this point in time, the phase that we're familiar with Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, the whole 9 yards, for the most part, will be exiting because all their contracts, A, will be up, and B, because at this point, maybe Marvel wants to move in a different direction with most of the characters. There won't be many, at least after the events of the 4th Avengers film, that will be staying on for much longer after that. I mean, there's going to be a few characters, but not too many that we're very familiar with at this point in time. So this leads me to my next question to ask you. Do you think that this is going to be the ultimate high for the Avengers, and that maybe will bring the series down to a crashing halt and will not allow the universe to actually grow even further beyond that the way it should, because people will already have that high from the 3rd and 4th Avengers films, and after that it's just like, okay, do we really want to see any more superhero movies?
If there's one thing that Marvel's done consistently, they always top their last movie, especially in the Avengers franchise. Like they always outdo it. So I don't think we're in danger of like seeing the universe come to a sputtering halt. But then again, I could be wrong. It's one of those things where they know the standards, they know where the bar's at, and they know how fans feel about it. And they're from what I understand, they have something pretty cool planned for their the next 20 movies they have coming out. It's just, I've been thinking about it, and it's just funny because Marvel's going to be done with the style of superhero movie that DC is currently trying to mimic. So when Marvel's onto something new, what's going to happen to DC? That's my, that's my question here, is that they're onto they're just now like catching on to Marvel's formula, but it sounds like Marvel has a brand new formula, and maybe these 20 movies that are up ahead will include the X-Men and Fantastic Four, assuming that deal with Fox goes through. And it's exciting stuff. Whereas DC doesn't have a problem with their characters being spread out among all these different studios, but they just don't know how to tap into them. And Marvel's about to do something cool with their next set of films, and DC is kind of stuck in the past. And it's it's going to be funny to see. I think that Marvel's not in danger of coming to a crashing halt, but DC might be.
Well, definitely, they're always playing catch up, and that's what happens when you're number two to the table in this sense, because they were not able to capitalize on the high that the Batman movies and the Batman trilogy, excuse me, created that sense of excitement and far as for a fan base that really wanted it and deserved it, they were not able to follow up on that with strong titles or strong enough titles that actually have captured the audience's imagination outside of Wonder Woman. So Justice League has gotten all reviews all over the place. We're kind of about it, and we're hoping for more. We're hoping for more good stuff from it. But yeah, definitely behind the eight ball when it comes to competing against what Marvel has already got set up. So before we go and continue on with a great show, I got to ask you one last thing on this. What from the trailer stuck out to you the most as far as exciting things, or maybe some certain Easter eggs that you wanted to look at, or what exactly stuck out to you the most with the Infinity Wars trailer for Marvel's Avengers?
Okay, so I got a couple things actually. One was I liked seeing the Winter Soldier and that whole. They've never done anything like this in a Marvel film, just as far as like having this massive war and these two sides just charging at each other. Like that has never been done before. So I'm really excited about that. And there was one thing where did you notice there was Mark Ruffalo was standing next to the Hulkbuster armor? And if you notice that the Hulkbuster armor was walking or was moving like a certain Hulk that we all know and love. So my theory here is that it's not Tony Stark wearing the Hulkbuster suit. Maybe it's the Hulk wearing the Hulkbuster suit when they're going out and fighting those all those little bad guys that are out there.
Well, in the scene as they're heading for an ultimate battle, so to speak, with Nomad, Captain America, whatever, whoever you want to call him at this point in time, leading the way. Hulk is right there in the background, but he doesn't have the Hulkbuster suit on.
No, and the Hulkbuster suit's not out there yet, so it wasn't in that scene. So it just makes me wonder because it shows the Hulkbuster suit is kind of in pieces when Mark Ruffalo is not hulked out and he's kind of standing next to it. So I'm wondering if it's going to be Banner in the suit, because that would be cool and that would be something unexpected, and it would definitely get a rise in the audience. It's something that I would do if I were making the film. And then the last thing would be, I'm really curious how, or two things actually with Thor and Loki. I'm curious how Thor is going to connect with the Avengers on Earth, because it shows him in space. There's nothing in the trailers that show him on Earth. And, with Loki too. And the big question here, Loki has the Tesseract, and it shows him handing it to someone, but everyone thinks that he's handing it to Thanos, but I don't think he is handing it to Thanos. If you look, his face is super beat up, like he's been through the ringer. So and he looks scared. So I don't think I think something happens there. And I'm really kind of dying to find out. That's why I've been watching the trailer, just trying to see if I can catch a glimpse of who's on the other side of that camera. But I will just have to wait and see. But that's kind of the big mystery to me.
And I'm interested to see how the newer players, as far as Doctor Strange, also Black Panther, how they're going to mesh with this whole environment. Obviously, Wakanda plays a big role in this new movie as far as the battle scene is concerned, but also setting up the stage for quite a cataclysmic altercation with Thanos' troops. And obviously, I think what you see when Thanos actually comes to Earth, I think it looks like he's at the part where he's in Wakanda. Is that correct? Where you see him like coming out of that wormhole?
I think that's in New York, because it shows the wormhole is sitting over Brooklyn. Remember when?
Okay, that's the one, and that's Spider-Man going after that, right? And you see him battling Spider-Man and giving Spider-Man the chokehold.
Yeah, he's got the Iron Spider suit.
Yeah.
They show that scene where he punches Tony Stark, and like I'm I want to know like how this all happens. Just the trailers got me so like, oh, I'm
Well, he's already got the stone from, because he adds 2 stones on his gauntlet, and he already has the one that from the Nova Corps. So at some point in time, he goes to Nova Prime and actually grabs that, whether he destroys Nova Prime or it gets stolen covertly. I'm not sure either which way. Maybe the dark forces, that work with him are partly responsible for obtaining that first stone.
Yeah, well, one of his people, if you saw in the trailer, one of his people was taking the stone out of the Vision's forehead. So, and then the other one had the spear that they threw at Captain America. Yeah, I'm sure maybe like if I know Marvel, they're gonna give us a little, intro that's probably gonna show Thanos getting that stone. Um, my big thing here that I love about this is that we had talked about Thor Ragnarok, and the tone of Thor Ragnarok, but this movie Infinity War looks very, very dark, and I'm actually really excited about that. Well, Thor Ragnarok was a nice change of pace. I'm glad to see them all back to taking life seriously because this is a big, like, there's a lot on the line here.
And there's no jokes or smarmy remarks from Tony Stark at all. He's looking deadly serious. Like this could be the end for the Avengers as we know it.
Yeah, yeah. Let me let's close this off with one more question here. Avengers 4, okay? Disney is getting all their properties back. They're getting the stuff they're getting Fox, and they're going to have their streaming service, so they're not going to be tied to
Well, you don't know about Fox yet. It all depends.
We don't know, but they're sources say they're getting rid of their deal with Netflix, and they're going to be taking those shows and putting them onto their own streaming service, and they're basically going to be taking over production. Do you think in Avengers 4 we're going to be seeing the Defenders show up at all? Now that they can do that without contract problems.
I still don't think that they think highly enough of them that they will make more than a token appearance. They could, but I just don't. I hope it's not the same situation as with the Justice League disassociating itself from the DC universe that's on the CW, which is a shame to me because I really like the Flash that's in the CW. Not saying I don't like Ezra Miller. I'm just saying I thought the Flash that represented himself in the CW version, I think it would have been good enough for the Justice League on film. But I'm kind of iffy on that. I'm not sure if they think of it as, it all depends. If they bring Coulson back, if Coulson comes with S.H.I.E.L.D. in some form or fashion within the movie, I think they'll go ahead and bring those forces back from the Defenders, even though you and I didn't love the Defenders series itself. I still think that if they're going to bring the Defenders back, then you might as well bring Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything that you've that's had any kind of long-standing nature with fans on a smaller medium. But I think there's already enough room. There's only enough room for everybody that's appearing in the film. So I think they're going to just probably leave them both out at this point in time.
Right. But Kevin Feige has gone as far to say that they do exist in the same universe. It's just their existences are separate because of like the contract issues are complicated as far as Netflix goes. So, even if they don't show them in the movie, do you think that like coming up, they will give them, I don't know, even maybe have a Defenders special that takes place during, because if war is
well, that I can see. That's yeah. They'll have a storyline that not like almost like a Battle of New York if it was contained now within that storyline.
Right, because I don't see like a big battle taking place in New York with all these little creatures running around and not having like Daredevil or the Punisher or any of these people just like idly standing by and watching it happen without getting in there to fight.
Exactly. I agree with you on that. I think they would be, but I think there's going to be self-contained to a Disney streaming service end of it and not be on the big screen. And I think the same goes for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that storyline arc would probably be portrayed onto the ABC version of it and I don't think you'll end up seeing Agent Coulson on the big screen. It's my personal thoughts. I hope otherwise, because I really like Agent Coulson, but I don't think he is a fit any longer for the big screen version of the Avengers. But what I can tell, you and I are both extremely excited for Marvel Avengers Infinity War. I think the trailer just did everything it could. It hit on all the right notes, and definitely was a tremendous way to boost excitement for the film coming next May. And I cannot wait to see it. And I know you can't either. What is everybody's thoughts on the newest trailer for Marvel Avengers Infinity War? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. It's going to be a great episode indeed, but as always almost always, we've always got to kick it off. We got to kick it off with our good friend Plasma Z. This is Junkyard Nomads, and this Cosmos, the PCC Multiverse. Almost forgot what day it is. And we're back with the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today. If you haven't been able to get a chance to check out our shows on the Podcast Radio Network, because we know that they've had issues for the past couple of weeks, and our thoughts are with John Sweeney Jr. and obviously taking care of his family issues. Indeed, our thoughts are with him, and all the best to him and his family during this rough time. The station's owner, but we wish him all the best. Said that the station is going to be coming back up soon. So if for some reason going forward in the future you're not able to catch the show there, we've got a ton of places you can see it, including Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, the Tangibound Network, the ESO Network, Gonna Geek, Cast Crunch, our home site, popculturecosmos.wordpress.com, and so many others. If you ever need help trying to find our shows, just head on over to Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook. We have a pin post detailing exactly everywhere we're at. Well, everywhere I know anyways, but I'm sure there's probably a lot more places as well. Josh has got a great thing going on with Humanica Media. So tell me, Josh, what's going on within the wonderful world of Humanica Media?
We have What About This is coming back this Saturday finally. So it's weird that the show has been downloaded since their hiatus. It's been downloaded over 200 times. So it's it's cool to see that you guys are all still listening to this. And then we will have a new. I'm slowly catching up on Topicocalypse episodes. I've fallen behind on that. I need to get back to a more consistent schedule. There's going to be a new Inside Sports up either tonight or tomorrow. And for now, I think that's it.
Well, check out everything going on with Humanica Media on their Facebook page, their Twitter, or even their YouTube page as well. Also got a lot of great things going on. Most of our shows are on Podbean and, of course, on Apple Podcasts as well. So, Josh, Daisy Ridley, in an interview, I believe with Rolling Stone, I'll confirm that just to make sure while you're talking, recently said that after Star Wars 9, she is kaput when it comes to the Star Wars franchise. That kind of shocked a few people, especially after what we had talked about a few episodes ago, where Kathleen Kennedy, head of Lucasfilm, had said she was hoping for Rey and Finn's and Poe Dameron's story to be lasting a long time to come within the Star Wars universe. So when you hear Daisy Ridley make those comments, what does that tell you about maybe some things that she's not happy with? Or do you think that maybe it's a case of not wanting to pigeonhole herself and become just known for being part of one movie franchise?
I have some interesting thoughts on Star Wars right now, and this might make me a little bit unpopular with people. So I've been going back and slowly watching, I don't remember the prequels. I saw them when I was a kid, so I've been trying to catch up on all the Star Wars, get my story intact. And
you're not missing much.
Yeah, no, I got some thought. We'll have to have an entire podcast for my thoughts on episode 1 and 2 so far. Uh, but I don't know, man. Like Star Wars for its time was it was a masterpiece. It was a feat that had never been done before, both in storytelling and filmmaking. But I look back at it now, and if I'm gonna sit there and marathon, there are better movies out there. Like if I'm gonna sit there and marathon like a film saga, I would probably much rather watch like 20 Marvel movies than 8 Star Wars movies. And it's not because I don't like them; it's just because there's more captivating stories out there in other movies. And so I think with Star Wars, like if anything, we've talked about this before. Walking Dead has proven this fact that people are, these pop culture icons we have right now, these big movements are, they're fleeting. And I think as far as like Daisy Ridley goes, Star Wars is what they've already slated, movies for the next 10, 12 years probably. And Star Wars is one of those things where it's very possible that it's going to outstay its welcome here soon. And I don't doubt that people are still going to go see them, but it's just one of those things that we might get burnt out on. As far as Daisy Ridley goes, I don't think she's dying. I just think that she's done her 3 movies and she's on to better things. Like this has gotten her noticed for a lot. She's in the public eye. Same thing with what's the guy's name that plays
John Boyega.
yeah, same thing with him. So it would be smart for their career if they kind of stepped away from the franchise for a bit before returning. And that's assuming that Lucasfilm wants to tell more stories. But from what I understand, they have an entirely new trilogy lined up. So it's just one of those things. Like I if I were in the movies, I wouldn't want to be a part of something that may or may not work. Whereas the trilogy we're on now definitely is going to make money. So it's just, I mean, I think she's being smart. I think it's a good career decision. And yeah, you don't want to be forever known as the person who, played in Star Wars. Essentially, look at Pierce Brosnan after his James Bond run. Like that was all he was known for from that moment on. It took him so long to get back into movies that weren't playing that cast type. So I think it's she's probably doing what's best for her career here.
It sounds like it, and obviously she doesn't want to be. I guess it's similar to what Mark Hamill and what also Carrie Fisher have went through in their lives because they were tied to one certain role. Harrison Ford, of course, was able to find success on the film medium in many more different roles and became one of the biggest box office action stars of the century, for better or for worse on that. So it definitely for him, it has worked out beyond the Star Wars realm. But for what the other two have been able to go through, Mark Hamill's one of the premier voice actors of the day, and Carrie Fisher, even though she had a lot of other great credits to her name, those two could never get out of being, known as primarily, Luke and Leia. So I can understand why Daisy would probably want to try and get rid of the role as soon as her contractual agreements are up. But that's kind of sad if that's the case, because if she never returns to the role at all at any point in time down the road, it's kind of a shame, because so many people are very affectionate towards her character and really appreciate what she has done, even in the one film that she's appeared in so far. They really have stood behind her, and really a lot of young kids look up to her as far as her role and her importance within the Star Wars universe, and also as a pop culture icon. So it's kind of a shame that we won't be able to see her talents beyond Star Wars 9, at least for now. At least that's what we're being told. So, but we understand why she's doing it. It's because she wants to be an actress first and be known for a complete body of work, as opposed to being just stymied by one particular role in her life. What are your
Right.
thoughts on Daisy? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, just real quick. Like I heard, yeah, and her, what we, they have a certain level of connection to their fans, and I don't doubt that we will see her return in some form or fashion. They're not going to kill her because they said all the articles are specifying she's gone for now. So that means that they're she's still going to be existing out there, much like Mace Windu and Jar Jar Binks. But if anything, like the news about Harry Potter.
I'm not even going to say why I think that's so funny, but I think everybody out there gets the idea when you associate Jar Jar Binks. Mace Windu got flown out of a window and got his hand cut off. So I'm not sure that's.
We never saw the body. For all we know, Coruscant is just an endless planet. You see how many endless pits they have? He could have just fallen out the other side for all we know.
All right. But Jar Jar Binks, that was cold. But continue. I'm sorry.
No, anyways, the point I was trying to make is if news of the Harry Potter stars coming back for another 3 films after the Fantastic Beasts franchise is over proves anything, I think that it shows that if fans have enough loyalty to, or actors have enough loyalty to their fans, that they do hear them and they will come back eventually to answer that call.
Now that actually would be intriguing to me. I don't have a great affinity for the Harry Potter franchise, and I know that's probably going to get me some flack as well. But even though I've seen, I mean, gosh, if you turn to Freeform, it's almost always on. But anyways, you pretty much have seen a good portion of it, if not all of it, so you get an idea what the Harry Potter universe is about. And I've got 3 Harry Potter fans here at home, so how could I not? But I think actually, to me, that is more intriguing them at that point in their lives than actually as they went through the whole process itself. So maybe I would come on if that as a fan if that happened. So and I like I said, I cannot blame Daisy for wanting to leave that role if she wants to talk about a great body of work that she would be known for throughout her lifetime, as opposed to being just pigeonholed into one certain role. What are your thoughts on Daisy Ridley possibly leaving after Star Wars 9? Do you think it's too soon for her to do so? Would you like to see her return at some point? Are you sad that she's going to be leaving altogether? Or would you like her to stay consistently and be a part of the Star Wars realm? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. And we're back to close out the show. This is the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford, and we from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source, and we truly appreciate you hanging out with us still. And Josh, it's December, and it's that time of the year again. A lot of films out there are really, really starting to get that hype train going, get that Oscar buzz flowing. And there's going to be a lot of films now that are vying for that space to get known and recognized for possible Oscar glory next year. So I ask you, Josh, there are a lot of films out there that are trying to vie for the space, and a lot of them are coming out, or some of them are coming out this weekend, including in limited release, The Disaster Artist, Lady Bird, The Trials of Palos Verdes, let me see if I can name the other long one, because there's one coming out soon as well. I'm sorry. Three billboards outside Ebbing. 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. So I ask you, Josh, all these have got that Oscar buzz type, talk for one reason or another, including Lady Bird, which is now the highest rated film of all time on Rotten Tomatoes. Is there certain films that you're looking forward to possibly seeing that people should be on the lookout for? Or do you think that all these films maybe are just a lot of talk, they'll get some nominations, but in the end it'll go to a bigger name that you and I may have seen this year?
Personally, I would like to see what was it? It was The Shape of Water get something, because Guillermo del Toro has done, he hasn't gotten as much recognition as he deserves in the industry. He's known for creature effects, and yeah, I think he won something for Hellboy 2, right? Or he was nominated for something as far as creature makeup and effects go, or something like that. But as far as like pure storytelling goes, I think he's overdue for something. As far as the other ones, I do want to see Lady Bird, I do want to see Disaster Artist, but as far as like these movies go that are all being nominated for stuff, I'm very weary of them because I went to go see last year. I saw Manchester by the Sea, and that was, it was a decent movie, but it was nothing what I expected it to be. It was nothing what everybody was like, what people were describing it, or maybe I didn't see the same things in it. So that's kind of my problem with these films that are all being nominated, is that everyone's going to see them and they're talking about these big, whether it's like a social theme or an emotional something going on, and then I go and watch them and I don't see any of that.
Well, you and I both had some concerns. You primarily with The Arrival, which also got a lot of Oscar buzz, a nomination, and I thought it was all right, but whatnot. But I didn't think it was super great. And then you really just did not like the film at all, and you had no idea why people were loving it so much. I know that that's probably one that stuck out. But what I'm concerned is when you have all these films that are coming out now, and I'm sure all of them are great in their own right, and hopefully I will get a chance to see The Shape of Water, Lady Bird, The Disaster Artist, The Trials of Palos Verdes, all those up and comers that are going to try and get all that Oscar buzz. But does it take away from the Dunkirk? Does it take away from the Get Out, as far as from earlier this year, that a lot of people really, really like as well? Or does it even take away from something that both you and I think is a leading contender for the film of the year at this point in time, Blade Runner 2049?
Yeah, see, that bums me out too, because Blade Runner 2049, I think, is worthy of several awards as far as writing and cinematography and soundtrack goes, and even Dunkirk. Like, I think that's great. The problem is, like, with a lot of these movies when it comes out around this season, is that people are like, oh yeah, they totally deserve awards because they're smaller studios and not big budget films, but they are big budget films, and they're done by branches of studios that do, like Fox Spotlight or Searchlight or whatever it is. They're done by offshoots of studios that are
Amazon, IFC, or even small, Paramount, or
right.
or Sony Columbia's, or something like that. So, or Sony Classics, sometimes it's under as well.
Yeah, they're not small budget films. They're big budget film. They're not action films. They have a slightly smaller budget, but they're put on. It's still the big studios who are getting all these awards. So
they're still $1 million pictures for the most part.
They're still $1 million pictures. So it's not like the indie artists are making anything out of, are getting anything out of this. Nothing's going to the indie artists, and the indie artists are the ones with the really great stories to tell. It's all it's all these big studios who are still winning these awards for allegedly what people assume are sort of indie type flicks, and it's just not. I'm not really like on board with that. That's why I've never really cared that much about movies when it comes to award season, because the ones that should win awards don't, and the ones that shouldn't win awards always do. So that's kind of where I stand on the subject.
Well, I still want to get a chance to take a look at some of these movies that, again, will be coming out there in limited form. Some of them are coming simultaneously on streaming home videos. So if you get a chance, at least decide if these films are really, really as great as the talk is out there from critics and also the Oscar buzz out there. So check out when you get a chance. And I know they're limited release, and I know everybody wants to see The Last Jedi and maybe some more movies like Jumanji and the other stuff. But if you get a chance, check out The Disaster Artist, Lady Bird, The Shape of Water, Tribes of Palos Verdes. That's Tribes of Palos Verdes. And if you get a chance, and tell us, let us know at popculturecosmos@yahoo.com if these films are worthy to match up to some of the films that have really scored well with critics earlier this year, like Get Out, Blade Runner 2049, Dunkirk, and others. So definitely want to hear your thoughts on that. Also, as well, you can let us know at Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. So, Josh, we're heading on out on another great episode. I want to thank Salvador Villa, Rob McCallum, and also Tyler Baker as well. Want to thank all three of them for being part of this week's show. Any last thoughts as before we head on out?
Yeah, Gerald doesn't know this yet, guys, but we are going to do an episode where we're going to be talking Game of the Year here. So, stay tuned for that. That's going to be fun. I've got some picks in mind for that.
As do I, and I'm also trying to interview one of our good friends that is the owner of the Retro City Games. He's also going to be sharing his thoughts, Douglas Hoyobu, as well, upcoming in an episode. Plus, we're also going to be doing our annual best of and worst of when it comes to films as well. And definitely hope to get my friends on the TV ratings guide back over here for the best in TV at some point in time this month, as we just go ahead and celebrate 2017, along with some great holiday picks. I've got Wine, Women, and Words coming up here in a couple weeks. Also as well, Ben Arnault with some great holiday cooking tips as well. Salvador Villa will be coming back to share thoughts on the best board gaming ideas for gifts out there. And we're also going to come up with our own list at some point in time this month, just before the Christmas season hits, and talk about great pop culture gift ideas as well that maybe you want to think about for that pop culture fanatic that's that you know and love, and you so deeply care about giving them a nice pop culture gift. I'm grinning as I say that, hoping I might get one as well. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening, and here's hoping you have yourself a great day.